Hello, welcome back to the paint shop. Today it's going to be the start of a new project. As you can see, it's a Telecaster. I've never done a Telecaster before, so it should be good fun. This one is in pretty poor condition really. At some point in its life it's been painted black. Again, this is one that was donated. I think it was a kit guitar, so it should be quite fun to actually see if we can make something half decent out of it. The neck needs a lot of work. It's got some stain on it. We'll clean all this up and redo it. Address all the frets as well and level it all, etc. It's all pretty rough, to be honest. See, I've got my gloves on today. It's freezing cold in here today. It's very early in the morning. I've just put the heater on, so it takes a while to warm up in here. It's not as bad as it used to be before I had the new roof put on. So it's nice and does get actually nice and toasty in here eventually. Anyway, I digress. The body is, I think it's a solid wood. Looks like a solid wood twin humbucker with the F hole. It's got binding on it. I've done a little bit of investigation on the body here, and it has actually got some binding under the paint. So I'd like to strip all this paint off, I think. And I think I'm going to do a plain wood back, which is going to be oiled, very similar to the Ernie Ball guitar, that sort of nice smooth, really, satin finish, oiled back and sides. Standard 4 screws at the back to hold the neck on. Does seem quite high, that neck there, doesn't it? That seems like it should be further down, that relief on that, but we can address that. We can maybe even recarve that at some point. Don't know yet. We'll have a look at that. Yeah, so the top, I think I'm going to, again, like I said, I'm going to strip it all the way off, and I want to do a bit of an experiment on this. I want to do a lace pattern top with wood stain and a purpley pink candy blended around in almost like a semi sunburst fade again. Yeah, it should be quite a nice, hopefully a nice looking guitar when it's finished. But yeah, so first things first, I think we're going to take the neck off. We'll have a look. We're just going to put the neck to one side for now. We'll have a look at that maybe in a separate episode completely. And the first things first is to strip as much of this paint off as possible and give it a really good sand with preparation for the stain and the lace. Right, I've begun sanding actual body down. I've started with the top, and it looks like, I don't know if you can see there, it's actually got a nice wooden cap on there, nice veneer cap. I'm not sure what wood this is, but it has got quite a nice grain in it. Maybe it's a basswood? Don't think it's a maple. If anybody knows what sort of wood cap that is, drop me a comment below. And the rest of it, I believe, is going to be a solid wood, which I think it is, yeah. So that should be quite nice. Got lovely grain on there. But this is automotive primer, so it's been a real pain in the arse to come off. The heat gun doesn't touch it. It takes the base coat off, but it doesn't take the actual primer off. So I'm actually physically having to sand all this off with an 80 grit. I am actually going over now the actual face here, just with a 500 to see what the actual grain is going to look like. Make sure there's no imperfections in it, just with a nice soft block. But I think it should look quite nice. The colour scheme I'm going to go for is going to be a mix of these two here, the Candid Concentrate of the Caribbean Blue and the Rosa Red. So I'm going to try and get more like a pinky and purple. So it's going to be, if you can imagine, it's going to be like a pink sort of centre with the lace pattern underneath. The lace pattern's going to show through anyway, because that's going to be underneath the actual candies, and the candies are going to be translucent. And then it's going to go fade into like a purple and maybe the blue, or maybe a dark purple here, then purple and blue into the pink in the middle, I think. I can see it in my head, but not, I can't really describe it as yet, but it'll all come together hopefully. But that's basically the colours I'm going to be using. Again, they're just concentrates, powders. I'll put into some clear coat and we'll airbrush them on. But yeah, I'm happy with the actual face of that. That's got quite a nice grain to it, and I think it looks really nice. Again, more sanding needed. So I'm going to take all this off now, get it all right back to wood. Again, the binding as well is going to make it look really nice on the edge. Very thin binding actually. I don't know if you can see that on camera. I'll come in close. Binding is quite thin. It's not quite a thick sort of, you know, almost like a Les Paul binding, which is quite thick. That's probably about 1 mil all the way around. So I've got to be really careful when I'm sanding the edge. Okay, so more sanding. I won't bore you with that. And I'll come back to you when that's all done. Well, that was fun. That was a lot. I mean, a lot of paint has come off this. The grain is really nice though. It's 3-piece. You can see the join through there. You can see that on camera. Through there and definitely through there. But I think it should be fine. There was a little tiny split I noticed on one of the seams at the back here. So I may just drop a little bit of super glue in that. I think it's there, just there. You can see it. See a little crack. So I'll just fill that with super glue, I think. But what I think I'm going to try first is I'm going to try and just stain the top with some white wood stain. A bit of a brush. Just see if I can enhance the grain a little bit. It's an actual Rustin's wood dye. It's the white, of course, like I said. So just give it a go. I know it's not the best wood stain in white. All the other colours are absolutely amazing, but the white is a little bit weak. But I want a really subtle effect, especially on the back. I want it to look almost washed out, just to enhance the grain a little bit. I'll just give this a go. Yeah, staining it a little bit. That's quite nice actually. If you can see that. So lifting the actual colour just ever so slightly, giving it almost like a sun bleached look. Yeah, I like that. That's good. So I'm going to do, I think I'll do this all over the guitar. And then on the back, all we're going to do on the back and the sides, I should say, is oil the actual guitar, but we'll do that all after paint. Don't ever do any oiling on any guitars before paint, unless you want to ruin your paint job. Ask me how I know. Always do your oiling after paint, if you can. Right. Oh, it smells amazing, this stuff. It smells quite good. Yeah, I know it's very subtle. I don't know if you can even see that on camera. I think you can. This on the face, this is just going to be the very, very base of the actual colour, because we are going to be putting candy over the top when we do the lace. The lace is on order. I'll show you that when it comes in. Hopefully that should be in the next day or so. Is that a split in the top there? No. So I'll show you my process of actually doing a lace pattern on the top of the actual guitar. It's an old hot rod, I suppose for a hot rod Latino style lowrider paint effect. I've done it a few times on a few cars in the past, but never on a guitar, so it should, in theory, be alright. In theory, should be alright, should go quite nice. Yeah, okay, so I'm going to let that dry. I'm going to do the rest of the actual guitar all around the body, and then I'll probably leave it to dry, give it a really good sand with something like a 500, and then reapply probably 2 or 3 times to just build up the colour a little bit. It's just to give it a little bit more of a lift in the actual wood grain, with the wood grain. You can see it a little bit there. Yeah, it's just giving it a little bit of a lift. It's not massively stained it a lot, it just gives it a little bit of a subtle look. So I'm going to try it on the back. It's got a really nice grain effect to that. I think the actual prime is actually stuck into the grain and a lot of it. So hopefully this white wood stain will make it look a little bit more interesting. A little more progress made, and I'm really actually liking the look of that. it's enhancing the grain. I've got a lot more sanding to do just to actually take the actual stain back a bit. And then I'll just give it that almost like a limed oak sort of look to the wood. It's enhancing the grain quite nicely. Yeah, it's a bit blotchy still. It's going to focus. Whoop, there we go. But after it's been sanded down a bit, I think it will be quite a nice finish, especially with the oil on as well. So it's going to be a lot more sanding, and then mask it all up and get ready for the lace front. Right, it's the next morning and the actual stain has dried really nicely. We'll just take it out the vise and show you the grain, the end grain. As you can see there, it's really enhanced the grain. It's sort of sat in the depth of the grain. I'm just giving this a light rub over with a bit of 240 then a 500. And as you can see there, it's really made the grain stand out. I think once the oil's on that as well, it'll really pop and look nice. So what I'm going to do now is probably 3 or 4 hours worth of sanding, get it all nice and smooth, and then I shall mask it up, and hopefully the lace turns up today and I can get the lace pattern put on before we do the actual candy. So I think I'll let that dry probably for 24 hours before I do the candy, just in case when I put the candy on it reactivates it and makes it bleed through, which is definitely something we do not want. Right, so as you can see, the net curtain or lace curtain has arrived, and I went with this, I think it's like a rose pattern. It's basically just net curtains. I got this on Amazon, thank you to Mr. Bezos. I think it was about £5, it's about a meter's worth there. The beauty of this is you can use it more than once, you can use it 4 or 5 times, and you can move it around. You can even cut it and put it on the actual guitar as a mask, or you can just keep it as one piece, which is what I'm going to do. So I've masked the guitar up. It's all masked up, all the back's all masked up. Masked all the binding with some nice 3M tape. I put a little bit of brown paper just in the recesses here, just to stop any dust blowing up. I have actually blown all the actual recesses out with the airline. I've gone over the actual guitar with a tack cloth. These tack cloths you can get again on Amazon, or I think you can even get them in Halfords now as well. It's just to remove any little bits of dust. And what we're going to do is wrap this around the body of the guitar. You see me alright in camera? Just make sure I'm all in shot. Yeah, perfect. And what I want, really, I want that rose there, but is it going to be the right way around? Yeah, I think that'll be the right way around there. Then that will go over there. So there's another rose there over the F hole. Full, if you like. And then that will go under there like that. The thing of this is we've got to get it as neat and as tight as possible. So I may even tape it on the back. So I'm going to wrap it round like so. Get as neat as possible, like I just said. I'm waffling a little bit now as I'm trying to concentrate. Right, so if you can see, I don't know if you can see the basic layout there. I've got a nice rose there, nice rose there. I think I'm going to move that up, further up, so that's right on the actual part of the guitar there, the actual main part. So you can see that the most, I think. The bridge is going to go here. I haven't actually ordered a bridge yet. I haven't decided what I'm going to do bridge-wise, so I am risking it really by actually painting this before I actually fit the bridge. But it should be pretty much straightforward. I've just got to measure it and whatever, but I can do that after paint, but before polish. So if I do have any little marks or pencil marks in it, I can flatten them and polish them out. Definitely going to go for a hard tail, and I'm not going to go through body stringing with ferrules at the back, only because I haven't got a pillar drill, and I don't want to go in with a normal drill really, because it can wander and you can get holes that are all pissed and all over the place, and it looks bloody awful. So I'm just going to go for a nice hard tail, something probably from Geica or something like that. I'm just going to position it, bolt it down, and then string it up. Humbuckers, again, I haven't decided yet. Controls as well, I haven't really decided. I'm just going to see how this looks, and then I'll decide on colour of basically all the hardware, etc. I was thinking black, something nice and black, and give it all, you know, because the colour's going to be quite bright. But we'll see. Again, I may go gold or even a bronze or silver or something like that. Anyway, I'm waffling. So what I'll do is I'll continue with this, get this all masked up and wrapped. Then I'm going to put some plastic all over the actual bench, and we're going to get the airbrush out and do a very, very light coat of black, just at an angle. I'll show you all this anyway, and hopefully when we take this off when it's dry, we should get a nice impression of the lace on top of the white body. Right, so I had a little bit of a change of plan, and I did cut around the lace. It was just too much material. Oops, sticks to the paper. It was actually too much material to actually fold it all around the back. So as you can see, I just roughly cut around the actual guitar and then taped it to the actual body itself. It's pretty tight. I'm going to get it a little bit tighter, so I'm going to put a bit more tape on it and just pull it as tight as I can. I don't want to get any creases in it if I can help it, because that will show through. And then I'm going to get my airbrush out, which I've just realised is behind there, behind the masking, so I've got to move that to get the airbrush out. Put a little bit of black paint in there. You can use acrylic or solvent. I like to use automotive paint, it's what I'm used to. I know a lot of people like to use nitro and things like that, but for guitars and things, but I'm used to using automotive paint, so basically that's what I use. So if you want to do like I do like I do. If not, do what you want to do. If that makes sense. Anyway, right, okay, so I'll finish masking this up, and then I'll get my mask on and we'll get some paint on it. Right, so I've got my airbrush already, the compressor's all up to temp. I've got my mask as well already. Definitely wear a mask if you're doing this sort of thing. And get some ventilation as well. I've got the door open. It's freezing cold, but I've still got the door open just for safety things. The paint I'm using is just a automotive base coat. It's a solvent base. I think this is an Aston Martin Onyx Black. It's got some little bits of metallic in it, so it's very, very sparkly when it goes on, but most of this you probably won't even see. Just going to fill that up there. Right, so I'll just put the air on. There we go. Okay, so all we need to do is just gently blow over the entire body and get a little bit of colour on there. We're not going to go mad, it's going to be very subtle. Basically, something like that. I kept the gun or the airbrush at about a 45-degree angle. If you go straight on, you're going to put too much paint on, so I was just hang on. Ooh, stinky. I am going to actually sort some extraction for future paint jobs. I've got a little metal shed next door, so me and Stan the man are going to modify that into a sort of semi paint booth. At some point, but that's going to be a summer job for next year. Anyway, I digress again. What we're going to have to do now is leave this fully dry before we even try and demask it. So if you mask it now and you pull it off, you can smudge the actual paint and the masking. So I did go quite heavy on this because remember we are going to be putting some candies and some different colours over the top, so I want it to be quite intense. But if you were doing this on, I've done this on cars before, I've done it on like a black roof, you put this on and you go over with like a snow white pearl or something like that. Then when you take it off, you get a really sort of subtle ghost look. So this really be more a stronger, heavier look. So I'm going to leave this for about 10-20 minutes. I'm going to have myself a cup of coffee, watch a bit of Jimmy Carr on YouTube or something like that, just chill out for a minute. Then we'll come back, demask it and see what a mess we've made. Right, it's been 10 minutes. and see what we've got. Hopefully it's been a success. Oh, I think so. Let's just do around the edge first. Mess it up. Something like this you can't actually blow in or do any touch-ups. Once it's on, it is on. There we go. Come on. Yeah! I quite like that. That's come out really nice. I should give you a closer look. I'm not going to do anything else to it now for at least 24 hours. Let that base go completely dry before we do any of the candies. So we don't want the candy to actually bleed into the black and reactivate the black and make it a little bit blurred. There's a slight crease through there where I should have actually ironed the actual net first, would have probably made it a little bit better. And I could have gone a little bit darker with the black, but like again I said before, we're going to be doing the candy over the top, which is going to highlight all the actual colour as well, because this is all going to be purple, it's not going to be white. It's going to be purple, pink and blue, I think. But if you wanted to do this and make it more intense, you just put more coats of black on, leave it a good 10-15 minutes in between coats, and then basically take your net off, and there you go. But yeah, pretty cool. So like I said, we're going to leave that for 24 hours, and then we'll do the candy.